Hey, this is Dan with Guardian Mold Prevent here. Want to take a look at a mold project that is located in Elk Grove Village, Illinois. This is a basement of a 3-unit condominium building. This basement, you can see that there's a lot of debris and dirt that's built up on the floor because the water that came in, but the sump pump that we're looking at here failed. We had some heavy rains, big thaw, and a lot of water got into this basement. Several inches were in here before anyone knew about it, and we have some mold growth that's developed. Now you can see that there's a layer of paneling that's pressed over the top of the drywall in this basement. When you have a porous material like drywall that's made essentially of paper products or cellulose products, it's very susceptible to mold growth. So when it gets wet, it stays wet a long time. The mold spores that are naturally in the air in the regular environment land on those surfaces. They have the right temperatures, they have moisture, and they have a food source, and mold then will ensue. Now, what will happen in areas where you've got paneling, the moisture will actually wick further up the wall than in areas where the drywall is just exposed. So many times when you see paneling over drywall, you will find that pulling the paneling back that has been wet will expose a very high level of mold behind that paneling. But as you can see in this basement, there was enough water that got in that even the areas where there was no paneling over the top of the drywall is very heavily affected with mold growth. And usually when you've got this kind of growth, this dense growth, you had quite a bit of moisture that sat for quite a long period of time before anybody noticed it. And so this particular building is a bank foreclosure. It's sitting vacant, and the bank is now having us in. They wanted to get this mold taken care of so that they can sell the property without having the liability of having a mold issue. Now I want to look at a few things and to give you some terms here. We'll talk about porous material, that's drywall, trim, insulation, pressed fiberboard, paneling. Those are items that when they get affected with mold growth, they need to be disposed of. And when you're talking about semi-porous materials like framing members, once we get the drywall, the trim, the insulation, those things out of the basement, those members can be cleaned. And non-porous surfaces like concrete and foundation floors, those are all also surfaces that can be cleaned. So in terms of process, first we would set up containment in this basement. We would then bring in an air scrubber, which is a machine that would work towards running all the air in the basement through a HEPA filtration system. It would also keep from exchanging air with the other levels of the home and contain the air and improve the air quality. Then we would remove and discard the porous materials, the drywall, the trim, the insulation, carpeting, padding, tack stripping, things like that get disposed of. Once we've exposed the actual framing and the foundation walls, we would scrub them, treat them with a biocide, which is a product that kills mold on contact, and then we go back after it's been scrubbed and treated with a mold-resistant coating. We're going to take a quick look at what one of our air scrubbers looks like. It's a machine that has a blue filter, as you can see on the very top. It then has a pleated filter below it, and then it has a 12-inch HEPA filter. So the air inside of any given project will be run through this machine, and the spores will be removed. And then we'll look at what it looks like very briefly after the mold-resistant coating has been applied. In this particular project on the screen, you can see the mold was only up a few inches, so the drywall, the trim, the insulation was removed, in this case about up 2.5 to 3 foot. We exposed the framing and the foundation wall there. They were treated with a biocide, scrubbed down, and then a mold-resistant coating was applied, and then that air scrubber that we've seen before gets left for several days.